Welcome back, everybody, to Author Master Insights. Super excited to have Dr. Scott Vatcher with us today. This is going to be so incredible. Dr. Scott, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Finally, it's been a while, but we've made it.
Yeah, look, I've been excited for this conversation after having seen you present, had some incredible conversations with you. I'm going to talk more a little bit about this book in a moment, but I know that you're an incredible thinker, an amazing chiropractor. Not only, and for those not familiar with this, with the legendary man in front of us, he's not only an incredible chiropractor, he's a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, and author. Dr. Scott runs a very, very successful practice in Gold Coast, Australia, that includes clients like Motley Crue's lead singer Vince Neil and country music star Adam Brown, as well as elite sports people, amongst so many other elements. And as a chiropractor, has literally transformed thousands of clients to better posture, better health, and peak performance, as well as being an expert contributor on health-related topics in Men's Fitness magazine, as well as a variety of podcasts. Scott has also developed his own successful podcast, The Wake Up Dad Show, with over 80 episodes at the time of recording of the book that he wrote, but it's been listened to in over 40 countries throughout the world. He's also the founder of Co-Authorized and collaborates with chiropractors to help them write their book to get greater exposure and impact, as well as develop their authority. And it's based upon this book, Move It or Lose It. And we're going to talk about that. But as I said, Dr. Scott, welcome. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Move It or Lose It, the book itself, and we'll dive deep into that in this conversation.
Yeah, sure. So the book's been out for a couple of years. The birth of the book is from many different forms, as you probably know as an author too. Little bits and pieces come together, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, got an idea for a book. If we back up a number of years within in practice, I've done it all, been there, tried so many different things within practice to just extend those four walls and get out further, and would do talks on everything from mindset to nutrition to exercise to chiropractic, all of them. And what I found worked the best by far was an idea that came up a number of years ago. Instead of going sort of outside with those things like nutrition, to talk about posture and to do a simple posture class. And it blew my mind how easy it was to fill these classes. Because you guys know as chiropractors that, you try and do a talk and you try and get people along, and it's just a slog. It's tough to get people to come to the practice to, give them education on how to have a better life. But with the posture class, it was just incredible. Every single one I did, and I did, we'll say 100. Of those 100 were booked to the rafters, like literally trying to squeeze people in and move people around every single time. So it was just an amazing process. And then from there, one of my clients actually had said he had written a book for real estate. And he said, I think you should write a book about this. And I'm like, nah, whatever. And then that was the dawn of that seed. And then the combination of those two things, really, I said, why don't I get outside these four walls and create something that people who don't know me as a one-on-one can really start to get these benefits. So that's sort of where the book came from, a combination of the posture class that was so successful, and then a client or patient of mine going, you should write a book.
I want to put this in context for the chiropractors watching this as well. You may not be a posture-based chiropractor. Well, I think there's a great benefit to that. You may be a neuroscience chiropractor. You may be a family wellness chiropractor. You may already be doing in-house education and lectures, lay lectures for your clients or induction programs. And that message and that information allows you to then start to create a framework for the education, not only deliver in-house, but then actually becomes the written word. And that written word then becomes a promotional piece. I think what Dr. Scott has highlighted there is, yes, we've got a message to share, but that's just a simple statement. You should write a book. So, Scott, when you wrote this book, what impact did writing a book have on your practice, on your credibility, on your interaction and engagement with your patients and the community?
Pretty huge. It was awesome. Like it was very cool. I promoted the book in a great way and got some good response from that. So it became 7-time bestseller, which was really cool. And just from that, being able to use that in any situation, and just having the books there in practice. I had as a present day example, I think it was about 2 or 3 days ago in practice. I've got a couple of books inside the initial consultation room, and they just grabbed the book and started reading it. And I walked in, and they're like, "Wow, look, that's you." And it was like, "Yeah, that's me." And so it instantly has that authority situation where people just look up to you in a higher sense. And then I've used it many, many different ways with marketing as well. Like you can use it through your sort of, I guess your internal and your external marketing is there. I had a lady come in not that long ago as well. She'd bought the book a year ago and then came in the other day and bought 5 more and said, "I'm sending them out to all my family." So it's that type of scenario where that it's having an effect if people are coming back to buy more books for their family, for people who aren't by me in practice, so that I would not have been able to affect their lives if I hadn't had the book, because I wouldn't be seeing them in practice because they don't live there.
Love that. So far-reaching effects of chiropractic, even beyond the 4 walls, but it is increasing your authority, your expert status within those walls as well. And chiropractors always talk about attraction, retention, conversion, meaning getting more people in, getting more people to appreciate the benefits of care, and then staying for longer. How do you think a book has an impact on those 3 pillars of the profession?
I think what we just talked about was that sort of attraction side of things. And definitely that flows on to conversion, right? If you're seen as an authority figure, if you have that sort of higher status instantly, it definitely helps with conversion. But the really cool one is about retention. And the fact that you can, for example, the book that I have in particular, utilizing the exercises within the book itself to keep people going, right? I mean, I'll be honest, and I would assume I speak for potentially most chiropractors out there. When you're adjusting somebody and they're like, "Well, what exercise can I do with this?" You're kind of like, "Oh God," like, let's get you adjusted. So it really is a simple way to go, okay, jump on. I've got basically associated with the book, I've got a free online course or guide, and then a paid course and guide as well. So you can use it as that retention to get people to do their things at home and get better results. But then you can use it as a secondary income as well through an online course, which is what I've devised as well, a 30-day course. And back to your point, I just want to briefly bring that up because you had said chiropractors in different fields. Like you might be a posture-based chiropractor, you might be a neurological, family-based, whatever. I'm actually a family-based chiropractor. I'm not even a posture guy. So there's easy principles around that though, when helping people to improve their posture. And if they just do easy things regularly, it makes a dramatic difference. Like I talk to clients all the time and I say, if you brush your teeth today and you brush them extremely well, like I'm talking like for a half hour straight, and they're the cleanest they've ever been, what do you have to do tomorrow? And they get it. They go, "I got to brush them again." They're like, "Yes," because plaque builds up on your teeth. Gravity builds up on your spine the exact same way. No matter what you do, it's going to build up on your spine and nerve system. So simple exercises on a regular basis, ideally daily. And I've got basically 10-minute routines that are put together that if people want to try and give me the time excuse, I literally just kind of give them a little laugh and I go, "Nah, that's not going to fly here. It's 10 minutes. I'm not asking you to do an hour. I'm asking you to do 10 minutes, and you can do it in front of the television." So don't give me time as an excuse. You don't have to do this stuff. You get to do it, and you get to do it to improve your health and your life. So I'm not even a posture guy, but this stuff works and people get it.
Yeah, love it. And look, I think that principle around dentistry, if you clean your teeth today, what are you going to do tomorrow? You were doing the same thing. They know and they understand that. We've just got to put chiropractic in that context, because when we do our spinal hygiene exercises and when we get regular adjustments, it enhances and improves our health, our quality of life, and we need them to take ownership of those principles. So great for sharing that. I want to talk just that a little bit more about Move It or Lose It. You've already highlighted so much about the book, and I just want to acknowledge the amazing way you put this book together. It is a simple, accessible, yet simultaneously profound with enough depth to change a person's life. And I think that's the hallmark of a great writer is, as Patrick Gentempo would say, far-sighted simplicity. You've taken, it's not a simple book. It's not do exercise. It's here's what you need to know, understand, be able to expand and help your health and quality of life. But it's accessible, it's understandable, it's applicable, and that makes it incredibly valuable. So I love the book, and I'm not going to lie, I love the fact that I got my own there. So that was very special for me. I always love that. And life is movement. You've got the principles in there, and then you've got an understanding of those principles. And as I just look through here, and then you give the techniques, and you explain about the posture and all of those elements. So you bring, a visual element to it, an educational element to it. So what are people saying? We've already touched on this, and they're grateful they send it out to people, but and it's obviously improving postural elements. And people come in and they look at it in your practice, and they're grateful and they're excited. And obviously, there's wonderful feedback to you from that. But what way are you engaging with clients differently because of you're making accessible, valuable information that they otherwise wouldn't have because you can't do all the information you've got there in a book in a consultative process unless you're expanding beyond a chiropractic principle. So how are you engaging using the book to expand the principle of health, but maintain the integrity of chiropractic?
I think probably the easiest way to describe it is that the first third of the book is essentially chiropractic principles without mentioning the word chiropractic, because nobody cares about chiropractic. Like, they really don't. They care about themselves. And I think it was at a seminar just the other day, and I'd heard this many times before, but the idea of sell them what they want and give them what they need. Right. And so this describes those chiropractic principles in a simple way. And probably the coolest compliment I ever got about the book so far was a lady, one of my practice members. She spoke English as a second language. And so her English wasn't fantastic. And she said, I read your book and it was fantastic because I could understand it all. So that was, as an author, the biggest compliment that I knew I hit it right, where it was on that sort of whatever third, fourth, fifth grade level, but it gets those sort of complicated processes across. And then I think the next stage to it is to try and get people to understand that this is what they should be doing, need to be doing to have that best success in life. So the middle portion of the book is really about mindset, because I think people, they know what they need to do, but if they can change their mindset a little bit to realize that, again, they get to do it, they don't need to do it. And then the third part of the book is really just what to do. So I feel like I broke it down in a really nice way, that people can get those principles, understand them, but not talking about chiro, get their mindset right, and then do what they need to do.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. And I think it does that. Accessibility moves people to an understanding to change their habits and therefore change their health, which then changes their life. So I love that. All right, chiropractors all might be saying, well, that's all right for Dr. Scott. He's obviously an incredibly smart man. He's a great writer. He's got skills and knowledge and abilities I don't have. But that's not necessarily the case. And also, you might not want to write us a DC. So as the founder of Co-Authorized, is there some way that a chiropractor might be able to not have to do as much work as they think there is in writing a book, to still be able to get their information out there, grow their practice, expand their impact, and have greater authority?
Well, absolutely. Thanks for asking. So, I developed a whole program around this, and it definitely was not my intention around it. It was actually the publisher that I used for the book that brought this up to me, and he said, "Listen, this is such a good concept that I think you could co-author this book with other chiropractors." And so that's the program I put together, where You don't need to take the time. It took me about 1,000 hours to write this book in total. I'm a lot slower than you. I believe you can churn them out a lot quicker. So it took me a long time, and a lot of people, I think, get stopped before they even get started around that process because they know life is busy. You know, you're running a successful practice or a struggling practice, but you're still putting that time in to grow it, to do what you need to do in addition to personal life. And so finding that time and know-how on what to do is a struggle for a lot of people. So they don't even bother, even though they can see the benefit of being an author. So what with my co-authorized program, which I've actually upgraded to, it's now called the Authority Co. So I'll give you a link to that later that you can check it out. But basically, what it is you can co-author a very similar book. The bones of the book are the same. The process is the same. And the reason why is because the marketing machine behind it is already there. The online courses, the free guides, the email sequences, all those things that, again, take time and technology and everything else are already there for you, ready to go, but you get 100% input into it. So here's the book. What do you want to change? Like, do you want to change a little bit of this, a little bit of that? Write an intro chapter, and voila, you have a book. And so I think it's a really cool process that chiros can jump on board with and have their own literally co-authored book, right? Because you are, as the co-author, putting input into it. You're writing the introduction chapter, you're writing the chapter conclusion for each chapter. So you get to put your input in, be a true co-author, but the bones of the book are there, they're written, they're researched, it's all done. You know, instead of 1,000 hours, you could probably get it done in probably, if you're really quick, 10 hours, maybe 20 or 30 hours. You know, so put a few hours a week for a few weeks, and there you go. The most of it is done.
I love to say, this is what I'm understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. You take this book, the foundations, the chiropractic principles, the why, then you look at the what to do, where to do it, how to do it, but then you modify, adapt it to your own philosophy, your own practical application as a chiropractor. It's always easier to write from a full page than a blank page. And so you're saving thousands of hours of research, bringing that knowledge to a point of, I've already got the content there, and I'm just going to modify that content so it reflects me more accurately. I save my time, I save the effort. And then once we get that put together, I've already got an established and existing marketing campaign that follows on from the established work that we've done, that lets me market it, promote it, to grow my practice, grow my authority, increase my influence, and see myself as a published, co-authored, published person. And my credibility goes through the roof. And then I start to get this wonderful feedback from people coming into my practice saying, I love that you're an author. I'm excited for this book. I'm buying it for my friends and family. And you then just have this incredible, wonderful experience of being an author, growing your practice, growing your influence and impact, but at a minimum cost, a minimum time and effort compared to writing yourself, because you collaborate. Have I got that right?
You said it better than I did.
And I just want to say one thing to everyone watching this. I do write really quickly. It's like one of my superpowers is writing. That superpower came from tens of hundreds of thousands of hours. And when I first did it, it was terrible, but it's got better over time. But I happen to love writing, and I encourage people, if they love writing, to do it. But if you don't love writing, don't do what you don't love. I don't like doing aspects of my practice. So I have a team around me to support me in the things that aren't my superpowers or aren't my strengths. And that means that we have a team that means we operate and run efficiently and effectively because everybody's in their position of power and strength. The same is true for a writer. If you're a writer, write. If you're not, collaborate on the writing so that you can still get all the benefits. Because my practice, you know, I generate more than $250,000 each year around the arthritis solution book I wrote 10 years ago. Today, I still see more than $250,000 of value of income into my practice as a direct result of that book and the program that I have. This is something you can afford to do at the same time as you can't afford not to. It is such a gift to the profession. It is such a gift by expanding our perception within the community. It's then a gift to the patient, and it obviously gives you and the practice a lot more freedom, a lot more opportunity. So That's why when I had an opportunity to interview Dr. Scott, because I was like, wow, I'm so excited because this message gets out there. You have great opportunities to do things. And for you, Dr. Scott, I'm grateful that I got an opportunity to read this, to get my signed copy, and to meet and connect with you. You're an incredible speaker, an amazing thinker, and you're serving the profession. So everyone, that link will be down below. The book link will be there as well. Grab a copy of the book. Start investigating the opportunity before you, because this is a game changer for the profession, for your practice, and for the way you influence the world. As we wrap up, Dr. Scott, have you got any thoughts, any questions, any comments that you want to make?
Yeah, I'd just like to, like you said, the link will be below. And what I'd suggest you do is check it out. And what I've got there's, I think it's pretty cool. I'd suggest anyone who is looking at wanting to grow their authority, like, on the pendulum swing, we're going from the we to me society, and people are looking for authority figures to lead them in the right direction. It's happening now. The authority situation, you look at a lot of the big speakers and the big people within chiropractic and outside of chiropractic, they're getting back into that idea of the me scenario, where becoming an authority is going to be a huge influence over the next 5, 10, and 20 years. So what I've created is what I call the authority scorecard. And so it's 24 questions on how is your authority going. So that link that I'm going to provide, theauthorityco.com, the very top there, there's a tab that says take the quiz. So go in there, take the quiz. It's free. You get some really cool results instantly back to you. So see where you are on that authority scale. Are you doing better than you thought, or is there a lot of areas that you could potentially improve upon? Maybe even areas that you didn't even think of. Because as I dove deep and I'm continuing to dive deep into authority, it's such a rabbit hole in such a cool way. So yeah, that's what I'd suggest is if you're looking at where is your authority now, go take the quiz, see how you go.
Yeah, it's brilliant advice. And, authority is a currency, and it is so valuable to you, your practice, and your ability to impact the world through chiropractic. Dr. Scott, thank you. Appreciate you. So excited for this message. Everyone, just get a book out there. Just get a book out there, period.
Yes.
See you on the other side.
Thank you.